Hey guys, school registration is happening soon and I want you guys to be prepared. You're thinking about your classes for next year, you're thinking about what is school going to be like next year, and I want to fill you in on a few important details. Now, school registration is usually pretty simple, right? Your adults around you tell you what classes you need to take and you sign up for them. That's it, right? This is middle school. It starts to get more complicated. Sometimes you get a chance to choose an extra interesting class or maybe an honors class that you think you're ready for. But what about English? English, everyone takes it. You try your best, you try to do really well, and if you pass, great. If you don't pass, try again next year. History, everyone takes it. Everyone tries, you try your best, you either pass or you fail, and either way, you move on to the next year. PE, everyone takes it. You pass, you fail, you move on to the next year. But math, you don't pass, you don't move on. You're going to take that again, right? If you fail it, you have to keep taking it until you pass it.
Teacher story. One year teaching high school, I was teaching 12th graders who were eager to graduate. One student was taking 3 hours of English classes each day because he had failed them the previous years. He wasn't even trying to do the work. Don't be like that. Take your classes seriously and pass them the first time.
That's one of the best reasons for developing good student skills now, because middle school has so many forgiving areas to allow you to try things and develop those skills before it really counts. Think of it like a practice zone getting ready for high school. What skills are going to help you pass those classes? Well, here are the top 2. Number 1, just complete your classwork. Completing your classwork is the number 1 reason why students are not passing the class. If you don't turn in your homework, I don't know what you're missing out on, and I can't help you. Turn in your homework, complete that classwork, and get it done. The second tip is to ask for help. If you're really quiet, you can find other ways to ask for help, sending me messages, leaving me comments, but if you don't ask your teachers for help, if you don't ask counselors, if you don't ask your parents, if you don't ask siblings and classmates, if you don't ask people for help, you're not going to make it through with the success that you deserve. Now, as I zero in on the rest of this video, it's mostly for the 8th graders because we're looking at what high school means to you. This is the kind of moment where you're making solid decisions that will help determine parts of the rest of your life. You're responsible for the path that you lay out for yourself, and it's both exciting and terrifying at the same time. Now, 100 years ago, I was in the same spot. I had a bunch of different ideas about how I was going to end up with my life, and I had no idea how to get to any of them. I just kind of figured it would happen. Every year I give my 8th graders a series of lectures that help them visualize their future and know some of the steps to get to those success points that they're looking for. We'll talk about looking for a job that you're interested in, how to prepare an effective resume, how to do well in an interview. These are all things that you definitely don't need this week, but keep them in mind for the future, because the things that you're planning as you move into high school have to have your eyes on that future point, because that is where high school is building for. You are becoming that future person, and if you don't visualize that now, you're just going to kind of end up there, and you have control. You need to start taking it. Did you ever go to the store with just exactly enough money for what you wanted to buy? I remember the days when I could go to the dollar store with $1.08 and I could buy something. Would you ever do that? Just go with just barely enough? What if they raised prices? What if you were planning for a shopping trip you were going to take 5 years from now? You know things will have changed. You know prices will be higher. Maybe your decisions will be different when you get to that 5-year point. That's exactly what's going on with high school. You're getting ready for that point 5 years from now. You're looking for the other side. You're looking for when you're 18 and you're independent and you're making decisions for that. Choices you make now will impact your life forever. No matter what your dreams are, high school can help. Everyone in a job needs to be able to speak and write clearly. Success in your job is going to require you to listen carefully and understand what is written, understand what is spoken, and to use math effectively. We plan for high school because high school leads to college and college leads you to a job. Think about what kind of career you want. Maybe you already know, maybe not. A lot of kids don't know at this point, and you still have time to figure that out. Do you know what level of education you want? Do you want want to graduate from high school? Do you want to go to college? Do you want a degree beyond that? Let's start with some basic planning based on just your expenses. Average apartment rent in our area is $1,400 to $1,800 a month. That's a lot of money if you don't have a job. If you share a place, you can cut it down, but you're still looking at $700 to $800 a month. Your monthly expenses might be around $2,500, and that's just the base, not if you wanted anything extra like Netflix or a hobby. Look at this chart from the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. It shows the amount of education related to how much people are unemployed. You don't want to be unemployed. You want to have a job. Notice that the highest level of unemployment is for people that don't have a high school diploma. You definitely want to have a high school diploma because that increases your chances of having a job. In fact, the higher degree of education you have, the more likely you're going to have a job of whatever type of job. Now look at a comparison of how much money you'd be making if you didn't have a high school diploma. If you have an average monthly expenses of $2,500 a month and you're not making that much, you're going to need to have a roommate or 2 or 6. So what do you want to be when you grow up? We're going to explore that in another video. I've got some tips on how to figure out what career is right for you. But for now, again, we're just planning for high school, planning for registering for classes and figuring out where you're going to go with your high school career. Some students start shutting down their opportunities early on in high school, thinking that they don't have any opportunities beyond high school. They say, maybe there won't be enough money for me to go to college, so I'm not going to worry about that. Maybe I'm not going to have a job that requires me to use math, so I'm not going to worry about that. Don't narrow your opportunities now. You want to have as many opportunities as possible so you have the greatest chance of having the career that you want. 5 years from now, 8 years from now, whenever it is you decide what you actually want, you don't want anything standing in your way. When you have questions, reach out to the people that can help. You have counselors, you have teachers, you have various websites. The counselor website at your high school has great resources that you can look at. Talk to your parents, talk to your relatives. If you know somebody who does a job that you're interested in, ask them what kind of education or what kind of skills they need for that job. That would be something that would help you understand how valuable the classes that you're taking are as you go through high school. Okay, getting back to high school planning. There are different types of classes in high school. You have the required classes. These are the ones that are required for you to graduate. You can't finish high school, you can't graduate with a diploma from high school unless you pass those required classes. There are other classes that are required for entry into certain types of colleges, so you want to keep that in mind. And if you can, pass all those classes too. So if you decide to go to college, you have that opportunity available to you. There's also electives. Electives are classes that you have extra choices in. You can pick out things that are interests to you, things that you think might lead to a career, things that you think that might be an extra skill that might be better in a job. Some classes are called prerequisites. That means you have to take that class before you can move on to the other class. Sometimes that counts for classes that are required classes for college. Sometimes that counts for required classes for graduation. Sometimes that counts for classes that are electives. Prerequisites are very important because if you want to take a certain class, you need to know, well, the year before I have to take this other class. You're planning ahead. Planning ahead is a great skill to start developing while you're in middle school. You've got to take 4 years of English, 3 years of math. You might get a choice of which type of class you get to take, but you have to have a certain number of those classes to make that qualification. As you're planning your schedule, you make sure those classes go into the schedule first. That way you have plenty of room for them. I hope you have fun planning your classes for the future years because this is where you start visualizing your future. I hope you guys have fun planning your classes because this is where you visualize your future. Take care, guys.